everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about the books I read between September 21st and September 27th. First up, I read The Rivers of Zadar by DJ McHale, and I gave this book 4.25 stars. This is the sixth book in the Pendragon series. In this series, we follow Bobby Pendragon, whose uncle Press shows up one day and asks him for help, and Bobby quickly agrees, but has no idea that he will be whisked off to another world, where he ends up finding out that there are multiple other worlds, and he is battling the evil Saint Dane, who wants to destroy not only the worlds Bobby finds himself in, but Bobby's world itself. Obviously, with book 6, I can't say too much about the series because there would be lots of spoilers. This is a book I have read before, so this was a reread for me, though the details are starting to get really fuzzy the further I get into the series. I'm not sure I've read book 7, but I definitely remember that I read this book. In this book, we are on Laura's homeworld, and Laura is a character we meet in the first book, so it is very interesting to finally get to see Laura's homeworld. And I really enjoyed this world and the conflict there and the things that Bobby had to do to battle Saint Dane in this book. I am very curious with how things were left, as there was a big reveal that happened in this book that I thought happened later in the series. Like, I remembered this reveal, but I thought it happened later in the series, so that is part of why I'm not sure I've read the next book. Because, like I said, I thought this reveal happened later in the series, but it actually happened in this book. So I'm not sure anymore if I've read any more in the series, but either way, I'm really enjoying my reread / catch-up of the series, and I can't wait to see what world Bobby travels to next. Next up, I read The Elephant in the Room by Holly Goldberg Sloan, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. This book fulfilled the prompt of pretty cover for Phase Chen Chooses My TBR, and opulent cover for Bookopoly-thon. In this book, we're following a young girl named Sila, whose mother has been stuck in her home country of Turkey for almost a year now, trying to secure the immigration paperwork she needs to return to the United States and her daughter and her husband. Sila is really struggling with missing her mom. One day, she accompanies her dad to work as he goes to fix an old truck, as he is a mechanic, and she meets an old man who has recently won the lottery. He soon ends up buying a circus elephant named Veda after some discussions with Scylla. She and a boy from school named Matteo take a shining to Veda and end up helping him take care of her, which leads them to finding comfort and hope in the most unlikely of places. I really enjoyed this book. I loved getting to see Scylla bond with this elephant and this older gentleman who has very grandfatherly vibes about him. I loved getting to see her struggle of how much she missed her mom and how that has affected her and her dad and how that is displayed in their actions throughout the book. I loved getting to see her friendship with Matteo grow and getting to see that developed as they take care of the elephant. This was just a really heartwarming book, and I really enjoyed reading it. Next up, I'm going to group these together as they're part of the same series, and that is The Lost Stars and Tiger Heart's Shadow, which I gave 4.5 stars, and Pebble Shine's Kips, which I gave 4 stars. So we'll start with Lost Stars. This is the first book in the 7th arc of 6 in the Warrior series, and obviously I can't say too much about it because massive spoilers. We're following a new cat in this book who is a medicine cat, and StarClan has stopped sending visions to all of the other medicine cats in the clans, except for this one. And we have to see with him struggle with the fact that he, for some reason, is the only cat in all of the clans that has the ability to continue to interact with StarClan. I really, really enjoyed this book. It left on the worst of possible cliffhangers, and I cannot wait to read book 2. Tiger Heart's Shadow is a super edition in the Warrior series, which means we get to take a deep dive into Tiger Heart's life. It was really interesting getting to spend time with Tiger Heart and seeing certain events from his point of view, as I believe the events of this book take place during the 6th arc. So there's a lot of interesting information in this book that fills in some holes that we couldn't see because obviously we weren't in Tiger Heart's head during this book. I love these super editions because they add so much to the series, and this was no exception. And it was very, very interesting to get to see Tiger Heart's journey and his motivations and his actions and why he made the choices he made in the course of this book. For Pebble Shine's Kits, it is a novella, and they tend to release these in bind-ups, and I don't own this bind-up yet, hence why there is a picture on the screen of it. But these are little mini stories that fill in a tiny little gap in the Warriors universe, and in this one we're following Pebble before she has her kits. And I don't want to say anything more because huge spoilers if I say anything more. But I still really enjoyed this novella, and I love getting to see these little gaps being filled in with the super editions or the mangas or the novellas, and I will always take more from this universe and these characters. I thought this was an interesting story, and it was nice to have this little piece of backstory shared with us, as again it adds more to the Warriors universe as a whole. Next up, I read Soulbinder by Sebastian de Cassel, and I gave this book 4 stars. This book fulfills booktuber fave for Phase 10 chooses my TBR, and young adult for the Fall into Reading Challenge. This is the 4th book in the Spellslinger series, and in this series we're following Kellen, who lives in a clan of people who have magic. And if your magic hasn't presented itself by, I think it's your 17th birthday, you won't have magic at all, and you kind of become the servants to the mages of your clan. And Kellen so far has not demonstrated really any magic, so he is trying to figure out a way to trick his clan into believing he has magic that he doesn't. And he ends up meeting a woman named Ferris Parafax, who kind of turns his life upside down while he's trying to trick his clan, and we go forward seeing his adventures from there. I've been really enjoying my read of the series, and this is no exception. I am very curious to see what happens to Kellen next. Again, I can't say too much about this book because it would spoil Kellen's journey through the first 3 books, but I really, really enjoy this series, and I'm very curious to see what shenanigans Kellen is going to have to deal with next. And lastly, I read Alessia and Atlantis, The Forbidden Vial by Natalie Lane, and I gave this book 2.25 stars. This book fulfilled the prompt blue on the cover for Phase 10 chooses my TBR. In this book, we're following 12-year-old Alessia, who is going to a boarding school in Scotland, which is near the town where her mom grew up. She is in the care of her stepfather, as her dad was gone before she was born, and her mom died when she was extremely young. She wanted to go there in hopes of feeling close to her mother and maybe finding out more about her. Soon, though, she is whisked away to Atlantis and finds out her father may be from there. She ends up enrolling in school there and hopes to learn more about him, but learns it won't be as easy as that, as the ruler of Atlantis has banned asking questions about missing people. With the help of some new friends, Alessia will have to sneakily look for clues, but someone knows whose daughter she is, and it may cost her her life. So I struggled to get through this book. It just did not capture my attention. I was not super invested in the characters or the story that was being told. I saw a lot of things coming, and that bothered me. On top of that, I felt a bit of like almost whiplash, because Alessia would be having, say, an argument with a character, and it was like all of a sudden they were fine with no conflict resolution, and that really, really, really bothered me. I needed more character development. I have no idea what a lot of these characters' motives are, or why they're making the choices they're making, and why I should care about any of them. This book just did not work for me. Like I said, it was a slog to get through. I thought it was very, very slow. Honestly, I, in hindsight, wished I had DNF'd it, because I think I could have spent my time better reading something else, but it is what it is. I read it, and it is honestly not one I would recommend because I struggled through it. And like I said, I was very, very frustrated with the lack of emotional connection I found with the characters, and like I said, the way the characters would not resolve anything. It was like one minute they could be arguing and the next minute they would be fine, and there was no in between where they resolved the issue that they were having, and that really, really frustrated me. It really was not my favorite book. So these are some of the books I've read recently. Have you read any of these books? If so, let me know what you thought of them in the comment section below. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me a trident emoji, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!